Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of Magic Arena Run. Today we are taking a look at Midweek Magic. It's Explorer this time. We've actually kind of rotated through all the constructed formats here. And you know what? I decided to just use the old standby I have. I featured this before in a Port to Explorer series where I basically took decks from Pioneer. Took those lists and then just ported them to Explorer. Now this deck has since seen a few changes. The most notable ones have been the inclusion of Liliana the Veil and Shieldred the Apocalypse. I opted to still keep Kalitas for certain matchups. Also, the lifelink does help against the bit of aggro when it gets hit. Otherwise, pretty much you are reliant on getting your 1-drops, either getting or at least holding on to this because right now it is kind of aggro oriented at this point. That said, we still have pretty much solid follow-ups: Blood-Tide Harvester, Graveyard Trespasser. We have a few copies of Murderous Rider instead of the Baleful Mastery this time. I figured I'd rather be the one to want the extra creature. I'm okay with spending at least extra mana. We kind of balance this out 2 and 4 middle tree. Still have the Mirror Breaker, Bone Crusher Giant, the usual stuff. Have not changed the mana base. Notably, I have not included Sulphurous Springs quite yet. I guess there is an argument like maybe you could cut one Castle Lockway for a Sulphurous Springs. You could maybe trim a basic land. I've opted not to quite yet, but that option is still quite perfectly available. And yeah, nothing much to really say about the deck. There are many different flavors. Usually the flex slot is the 4 slot. Some have still opted to keep their Chandra's Torch of Defiance. I opted not to, and I probably could adjust my mana base likewise. Definitely keeping this hand. I probably don't need to duress until turn 2 anyway. I can kind of skip that one a bit. Matt Courier. So We'll go for the duress, see what our opponent has. This is most likely mono red. Lots of burn. So we're gonna take their land. And Fatal Push the creature away as well. Let's see, did they draw into another land? D2 Lava Runner. They did draw another land, okay. So much for shutting them out, but at least we did have that option. They do have a Wizard's Lightning. I'm just gonna blow up the lava runner. They do have the option of Wizard's Lightning. They're gonna do it on our face instead. Fine with that. They did hit their 3rd mana. They dropped the Chain Whirler. We will take the hit and drop Shieldred. So we have to be careful not to block because we know they have double Lightning Strike. If they hit their 4th mana, they will dump it all here, which makes sense. But now that their hand would be completely empty, we can now safely drop Kalitas. We can also just Liliana of the Veil take out their creature that way. See what they have left. They probably are going to empty it out. Yeah, Chain Whirler. Now, what we can do is let it hit.
Knew this was a waste of time.
Fatal Push. Now see if we can catch up. I think I will play the land. Probably don't need to though. And their opponent concedes. We gas them out, and with Kalitas on the board, they would have to. We would be able to recover while they could not. That's generally the main game plan against mono red. Take hits when you need to. Try to outgas them. Some mono red builds do have light up the stage, but not necessarily. So yeah, hitting that duress. It actually helped us in a way. Sure, our opponent drew into additional lands, but we did take out potential but it was worth a shot. Otherwise I would have taken out one of their lightning strikes. So this one definitely we are going for the turn 1 Thoughtseize. So we'll see what their follow-up play is. Karizev would be a problem since Bone Crusher's not going to snipe it. Okay, so we have a turn 2. We'll see if they follow up with anything. Like if they go for Bone Crusher to the face, we will Bone Crusher their chick. So they do have another land. Do they go? They go for the giant as predicted. We will likewise do the same. Now that said, our opponent probably has lightning strikes to cover for this. Command KFK. Let's see. If they swing, I will block. Okay, Murderous Rider it is. So we're gonna just hold it. We're gonna just hold it up, I guess. Opponent's going for the Burning Tree Emissary. It will eat ETB as a 3/3. That's a bit sad, but kind of fine. Okay, we will. Yeah, because at this point, actually no, we still have something to hold on to, so we'll pass. Okay, Shield Dread is solid. I'm concerned that our opponent could do a combination of removal, so I kind of want to hold on to our own removal first. Yeah, we'll play this and pass. Opponent. Okay, opponent is losing patience. Like I mentioned, they're the ones that are on the... Well, technically we're on the life clock, but it's only a matter of time before we start dropping our bigger threats. And we did get rid of one known card, so that's good for us. So this will ETB with 2+1/+1 counters. We will snipe Etching first. Ember Cleave. What do they target? Okay. So I'm actually gonna let the Ember Cleave resolve so that I don't... So now our opponent can just hard equip this, so decline. We will just play Shield Dread. Anax, that would be a bit more annoying, so we now need to keep gaining life and have an out. So let's see, our opponent equips it onto this. Yeah, this becomes a problem. We will not have... I don't think we can survive this. This is like 14 damage incoming. I can chump block, but to little or no avail. Basically, this is a chump blocking train. This is kind of where... This is basically where the deck fails once our opponent gets to Ember Cleave range. Oh, but they're not equipping it, and it's a bit too late to equip this now, so knowing that... Oh, that has flying. I'm actually willing to double block here. We'll squeeze out the life gain. Yeah, we lose a card. They do have another Ember Cleave. Go figure. Yeah, couldn't be helped. Having the extra card would have been nice. Yeah, this is a case where we didn't exactly draw. We needed more removal in the sense that, and we didn't exactly quite have that in spades. But it's still a reasonable outcome. I guess our mistake was going on way too early with the stomp. We really needed that stomp to resolve unhindered. We were really holding on to that Murderous Rider for that effect. That it didn't quite pan out there. Okay, definitely keeping this. Opponent this time is playing mono green, but we are definitely not letting the elves live. And the nice thing is we can kind of slow down our enemy basically with that one turn. Fatal Push into Lily. Though our opponent might be playing the more aggro version. Okay. Yeah, did not quite pan out there for our opponent. I could play Liliana, force a sacrifice, not such a great deal. I probably would play the Graveyard Trespasser. Force our opponent to discard a card in addition to their Blizzard Brawl, though in this case they went Coco. Coco, though, they're missing the special sauce for Rona, so we probably need to keep that in. Let's see, it's 3 man. I kind of want to just play a second one and just though I'm actually gonna pass here. I don't. It is reasonable for me to pass here. I can make it look like I'm missing mana. Steel Leaf Champion. He's thinking about pumping something. Okay. But more importantly, we do need to take out the Steel Leaf Champion. That locks it out of combat. Oh wait, no, they just need 4 or greater. Okay, so we'll do the full trade again, so that should force it out. Kind of trying to buy time. Now this time missing out on the mana is hurting us. Opponent has lots of mana to spare. They can also just basically mass pump this one. We will end up trading the Glutton for the Elvish Mystic. It's kind of it's a weird way to pare down our opponent's board. We can make our opponent ditch their last card, but it's probably not so relevant. Because I'm so tempted to swing now. It's the crackback I'm worried about. Anyway, we'll swing now. Let's see how our opponent decides to pump. Probably want... Yeah, you're gonna... Okay, they're doing that block instead. Oh, wrong one. Man, this was here a while ago. Why did it move? What the hell? That's horrible. I really wish they would just stop. They would stop moving cards around. That said, if our opponent can pump and hit us for 5, so that would be a really good time now to hit Lily. Oh no, they're just hitting us for 3. They could have pumped it for 1 more. They would have a creature, then they could swing with this one. Opponent not so familiar with that interaction. Yeah, we're gonna make them sacrifice a creature.
And I don't appreciate it.
They might sacrifice Ronas, which is more manageable from my perspective. No, they're sacrificing that. This one's another target creature, so let's see. They can bring Lair up to a 4, 5. That takes us down to 10. Yeah, the Lair is gonna be a problem now. Takes us down 10. Opponent goes for Burning Tree, so they can still do the same thing. Yeah, that was a really big punt. Like, I don't understand the mechanics of why moving cards around. Or at least lock it in so that I can't select anything while cards are being moved around. So now I'm...
Oh, that's
yeah, the Thoughtseize is not going to do anything. We never hit our 4th... We never hit our 4th land, so that's an issue. We can kind of buy time. Let's see. Yeah, they still have X equals 5, so we will be forced to chump block. This doesn't have trample, so we probably just block Rhodas. That was a really horrible setup. Let's see what their last card is. Yeah, unfortunately, we never drew the land we needed. But I'm still more annoyed with the targeting shift. As in, please don't shuffle the cards around. Where we see it is where we expect them to be. I would not even be surprised if some players set it up in a way to take advantage of it. Yeah, it's a really big interface error there, and the problem is because both of them are legit targets. It's really a moot point. We would have probably survived the game at least, if not have won it. Anyway, let's see if we can. Yeah, we're seeing a lot of mono red here. There's 2 lands. KFK is gonna. KFK is an issue. Actually, Annex is also an issue. Let's take the KFK. Because I can answer these creatures with Bone Crusher, I can't really Now, there is an argument that I probably should have waited to see. Maybe they might have drawn into a better 2-drop. Nope, they're just going for the Bone Crusher. That's fine. So, Annex is the big problem. I'm gonna play Trespasser here. Mostly because I can play 2 cards next. Oh, opponent never drew their 3rd land. Okay, that sealed it for us. Opponent probably would have stayed if we left the KFK in because they would have had. Really curious. Why is the game lagging really hard? You can see it's actually quite frozen here. Anyway, we'll claim those wins. Well, and we probably play a few more games. Maybe not too much because Rakdos mid in Explorer is not exactly a super unknown quantity. I'm not revealing any super secret tech. I will note that it is mostly a mirror of standard, so if you have most of the cards in standard, you should have most of these cards just fine. Okay, that's the biggest hit for most people will probably be the 4 copies of Thoughtseize. Croxa you can get away with 1 copy. Kalitas you can get away with 1 copy now. If you played during Midnight Hunt, you would have access to Sorin. You can... Chandra Torch of Defiance is pretty good, but now that you have Shieldred, you probably can get away without either of those. Though I think there's probably room for an additional Chandra, I suppose. Anyway, let's Thoughtseize our opponent, who is also red-black. Well, if they do Croxa, I just discard Croxa, so that's not an issue. Bone Crusher takes out my Blood-Tide Harvester. Fable draws them into more cards. Sky Sovereign, this is basically a one-off in some versions. But I kind of want to take out their card selection. So opponent probably goes to Croxa us. We will just pitch Croxa. We'll just play Blood-Tide Harvester. It will eat a Stomp. Or maybe get eaten by a Liliana trigger, which would be somewhat annoying. Though it does help that we hit all our mana, so we can at least get 1 Kalitas life. If we draw into more lands, we probably pitch the Blood Token. I will be really surprised if well, not really. Our opponent can easily go for Lily. Bone Crusher Giant would be the bigger issue because that also enables Sky Sovereign. I keep saying Sky Ship. Well, it is a Sky Ship. Okay, I'll give it that. They are going for the Stomp. That's it. That is a good way to give yourself an excuse to play this tapped. Yeah, the problem is if they do get the Sky Sovereign mana, it skips that. I'm gonna actually pass. If our opponent goes for Liliana, I can always pitch 1 Kalitas. I have a spare. So basically, this is me trying to leverage our Blood Token, though there is a bit of... Let's see who can get our Croxa alive first. There is a bit of a cost here. I would be happier if our opponent played the Bone Crusher instead. It allows me to pitch Kalitas for free, then just play Bone Crush, dome our opponent for 2. Yeah, we're both in the tank right now. Actually, yeah, like I'm saying, our opponent's thinking on their own time, but we have to be thinking on their time as well. Like, what would I do if they play this? What would I do if they play this? We also know they have the same goal as us. They want to hit their Croxa too. Okay, they're going for that. So let that resolve. Did they hit their land? I think they missed their land drop. So we are now going to pitch our spare Kalitas. Blood-Tide Harvester into a Fatal Push. I don't want to pitch... Like, this allows me to hold up options. But ideally, I don't want to pitch some Kalitas here. I might have to. Probably not the worst thing to happen. It does give us Croxa next turn. Though our opponent can snipe it with Lily, so that's still an issue as well. Though that said, If our opponent snipes it with Lily and we do draw our 5th land, we can get our lands live. Our opponent could also play their Lily first, try to snipe our Blood Tide Harvester that way. If they do that, we get a free fatal push onto their giant. If our opponent's thinking this hard, I suspect they did not hit. Oh, they did hit their land drop. That probably means that they have either a Shieldred or a 4-drop Planeswalker. Kalitas is usually a one-off nowadays. I'm probably still keeping the 2 copies. Though I could easily sub one of these for a Planeswalker. Or a 4th copy of Shieldred. God, heaven forbid. Opponent goes Heartless Act. We'll let that resolve. We will Bone Crusher. We will take out their Bone Crusher. But we do hit our 5th land. Yes, I actually want to play Kroxa first. Because this puts pressure on their hand. Although their Kroxa will soon get live also, we might convince them to pitch Sky Sovereign. That's most likely what's going to happen. They'll pitch that, they'll play Lily. The bad news is... Well, it's not really so much bad news. Given the situation, let's say they go for the kill here, I probably play Kalitas first. And the reason for that would be... Okay, opponent actually did not go for Liliana. In which case, knowing they don't have a counter spell, let's get rid of that Kroxa threat once and for all. I'm assuming they have removal in hand. This might convince them to move it elsewhere, but probably not. The main plan is basically, yeah, we are aiming for your Kroxa. We probably could have swung first, but they probably would have done this anyway. So we are taking their Kroxa. Let's get that threat off the board. And next turn, if our opponent plays Liliana to snipe this, we hit back with Den. There is a possibility they drew a removal spell now. We did see Heartless Act and Bedevil. There is a second Heartless Act possible.
Sacrifices must be made.
We'll find out soon enough. They do have removal. Do they have removal? I think they do have removal. Actually, to think of it, I already mentioned that this was my plan. Why did I deviate? Well, if they had removal, they would have hit this instead, but that would mean their Liliana of the Veil would be of no effect. The advice is if you have removal and you're going for it, you should go for it before I... The question is, what removal is it that they're not able to decide on it right away? It could be a Bedevil, which would be kind of awkward. But our opponent is timing out instead. That doesn't make sense. Okay, now let's be fair. Not every timeout is a result of malice. It is very possible that you could be timing out because of real life. Your ISP sucks. That is a possibility. Your train just went into a tunnel. That's also another possibility. Okay, that's not a possibility anymore. And we're going to make sure. And we're gonna make sure that we don't get surprised out of this now.
Fine. I know when I'm not wanted.
Oh no, you're definitely very wanted, just not on their side of the board. I am suspecting that this is a bit more likely, but I couldn't really care that much. I should well, I guess this is not this might be one of the last few times we see old lady Jaya, so we might keep her. Oh, speaking of which, what would Jaya be like in this deck? Everyone runs Chandra Torch of Defiance for good reason. Spot removal, card draw, mana acceleration. What does old lady Jaya offer? Actually, I'm gonna take a look while we're waiting for our opponent to decide what to do. Oh, by the way, the official name is Jaya Fierce Negotiator, but Fiery Negotiator, but we'll just call her Old Lady Jaya. So create a red monk token with prowess. Oh, the prowess is actually an interesting trick out of nowhere. Exile 2 cards, choose one of them to play. Choose target creature an opponent controls. Whenever you attack this turn, the negotiator deals damage equal to the number of attacking creatures to that creature. Sort of removal. This actually would fit in the mono red builds we've been seeing. The burn heavy one, not necessarily the burn heavy ones, but this would fit the Burning Tree Emissary swing with multiple creatures style deck. No one's really gonna play the -8, which is a big knock because Chandra's ultimate is actually much better in this sense. Not really curious what is up with our opponent, but this is gonna be a really timeout here. Also, by the time you get to this, it's too late to invoke the settings, so you cannot. So it's a bit too late. You can still capture the log. You're gonna have to remember the name of the person you played against. Shouldn't be that big a deal. Anyway, we're actually at a half hour in, and it's lagging quite a bit. I think I'll give it one more game. Let's give it a go. Though I suspect the lag is bad enough that I might consider calling it a day. Let's see. Can't remember how many times I won, but yeah, the interface is slow enough that I'm seriously considering. Okay, we'll do one more. Not necessarily a win, just one more. Just one more. If it's a win, it's great. If it's not, it's okay. And if you're wondering why, the general rule is, especially if you're aiming for the completion of Masquerade Passes, you want to... Okay, speaking of you want to... I guess I will keep this super... But if not, I could highlight the pitfalls of Rakdos Midrange this way. Opponent thought seizes us. We probably lose either Bone Crusher or Blood Tide Harvester. Opponent notices that we are short on mana. They take the Graveyard Trespasser instead. We are playing the Blood Tide Harvester first instead of Thoughtseize. One, because they already seen this one. And if I play Thoughtseize, they know that my other card's not gonna do anything. In this case, we are still missing mana. So what we're gonna do is we're actually gonna pitch one of our Bone Crusher Giants. I know, Sacre Blue. Pitch. But we're trying to see if we can hit another land. Yeah, it's red, but it's still a land. Hitting our land drop's kind of important here. Yeah, we kind of showed that we were desperate, but it will be what it is. Opponent does have a Graveyard Trespasser. We do have a Castle Lockway in ETB's tapped. I'll offer the trade here. Opponent usually doesn't trade. Then I'll play Bone Crusher Giant as is. No, so not quite stomping this time. If we go, I am happy to pitch Thoughtseize at this point. No, it depends. If our opponent hits their 4th mana, it's and they don't play something really spectacular, we could opt to Thoughtseize, but what are the odds? If they have their 4th mana, they definitely will play something big. That said, if they choose not to play something big, like they missed their 4th mana drop or something, I am actually more inclined to take a look at their hand. Our opponent's willingly pitching the Graveyard Trespasser is a thing. Oh, they did have the fort, and they did have the Shield Dread. We have a Shield Dread also, but we're gonna take theirs off the board. Opponent goes Invoke Despair. Ooh. Actually, also of note, because of the way this is sequenced, if they were to do an Invoke Despair on us, okay, Croxa, let's check cards. They have enough. I am going to pitch the Croxa because I don't want them to do it twice. They are instead going for Fable. Now note that Strangle is a sorcery, so I have no... And they actually have enough cards already. They could have actually gone for this. And in this case, we're just not going to let them do so. Let's take that option away. And yeah, might as well. Opponent is going for the pitching the land. Yeah, it's really a shame Strangle's not cutting it for opponent. Oh, they can discard 1 card. They cannot discard 2. And even if they discard 1 card, they're running the risk. Yeah, they opted not to. Because some Graveyard Trespasser would eat one of their creatures and be done with them. I do suspect the reason they're going for this is because their next card is an Invoke Despair. And and we'll see the sequence here. Because I sacrificed the creature first, they will draw 2 and not take any damage. Now we're gonna see if we can survive this situation. That would, if you were wondering about that sequence of plays, that is exactly why. Opponent going for Kolaghan's Command. Do they have the mana for Shield Dread? No, they have a Blood Tide Harvester, which is still bad, which is bad in itself. Yeah, they play Shield Dread. They're not exactly going to copy it, so that's a bit of a saving grace. And we can still kind of try to kill them well, not anymore. They drew gain life. We can try to go for removal. Yeah, Next turn we will definitely swing, though we do have an option with Kalatas. Well, let's see. If our opponent has removal, that takes away that option. Yeah, it's whoever can stick. Actually, Kolaghan's Command, I should revisit this one as an option. And the bad thing now is our opponent can. Oh, they missed the Kiki Jiki interaction here. Do they have the last card? Because they're doing all. Oh. Hold on. They brought us down to 1. Oh, but still our main combat. Yeah, they can just. They did have the Bone Crusher. Yeah, I guess the sandbagging makes sense. It's because if I had drawn something that kind of gained life, that would have ended it for them. But hey, at least it validates the deck as a concept. I definitely would give this one a go. It should be easy to assemble it from most of the parts from standard now, and a few standards before, I guess. Anyway, that's going to be it for this episode of the Magic Arena Run. If you like what you saw, please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Turn on notifications and whatnot. And as always, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope to see you guys again next time. Take care, God bless. Stay safe wherever you are. Have a great week, everyone. Take care.